Welcome back.
Hey everybody, we're back with the nerd log.
Hi.
We're like this is the classic example of like last but certainly not least. I asked Jules to go last so we wouldn't have to cut it off early because this is like a two-part that I just think is so cool. And I'll be honest, I've been here for a little while at New Relic, and I even work with V Tran, who like works on this product, but somehow I just ended up never like seeing this for what it could really do, the like ability to do both customizing your dashboards visually, but then also making fully custom visualizations. I knew we had it, but I hadn't really seen how neat it was.
Yeah, well, actually, we had like you could create your own app kind of on New Relic, but the custom visualizations as a little like snippet you can put in a dashboard is actually out live today. So
Oh,
super
That's
new. Yeah,
awesome.
as of like
uh,
11 or something.
Oh my God. First demo, first demo, first demo.
yeah.
Yeah, fingers
I
crossed.
you almost got bumped, by the way. Like I
Yeah.
was like, you're like, oh, this is coming out like that day. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
Luckily, everything went well.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Cool.
Um, but yeah, so let's start by talking about um, you were showing me the configuration of sort of custom dashboards, which is more you saying, hey, I guess this sort of starts from like, when we're looking at kind of anything in the New Relic UI someplace, we're looking at a chart or a billboard value like this one, we can always say, hey, I want to kind of tweak this a little bit, right? Because we can go and see, I guess maybe you can show us this, you can go and see the query that underlies any New Relic chart, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So let me scroll down to the bottom here, because I like this one for our example. But so we've got this, you know, predefined chart in the APM experience or the service experience here. Oh, sorry, I'm in browser, realizing. But yeah, here on any of these charts, we can click on that three dot and see that view query and open that up in the query builder. So you can get what is powering all the charts in New
Yeah.
Relic this way, and then customize and add them to your own dashboard if you want to.
So if you're not a SQL cowgirl and you're not feeling like an expert in this, but you do want to customize one of these, this is kind of step one. Is you can always look at what has built this so far and look at how
Exactly.
editing it as necessary.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just going to turn this into a time series for our purposes. So yeah, as you mentioned, like I'm going to go through a couple of the new-ish configuration options for all these built-in charts here. So for this one, we're looking at a time series line chart, which means that we've got kind of our top and bottom ranges predefined by New Relic based on the data set, but we can actually adjust that now. So we could, I guess fitting to the time ranges and doing me a lot good here, but if I do like a 0 to 100, now I can get rid of that upper range that I don't really want to
So let's say
see, or even go down to 80.
like, maintenance tasks or something running that take way longer than everything else.
Exactly.
We really only care about that low level. I mean, often it goes the other way, right? But in this case,
Right.
like we only care about the fast stuff, so we can
Exactly.
control that.
Yeah, so now we get like a much clearer view, more visually. Well, I mean, it's a lot of lines here, but we can, start to hone in on certain things that we want to.
And this obviously, in this case, maybe we want to look at adding something to the query to say, hey, be a little more focused about, we don't want everything from this app ID. We want everything from, we want to add a clause to say we only want to see a certain area.
Right. Yeah, we've got like the limit choices we could make there, or yeah, some extra where clauses that we could add in. So the other thing that's going on here is because we do have 10, limit of 10, we've got quite a lot in the legend down at the bottom there. And maybe that's fine, but maybe you want like a pretty compact, clean looking dashboard. A new option here is that you can turn the legend off. It still shows up in your tooltip when you hover over these things, but this is going to make dashboards like much more compact if you don't need those legends down there.
Yeah, that's really nice. Legends sometimes take up tons of visual space.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have a few charts. Okay, no problem, but sometimes you want a super quick view. Cool. So that's sort of the new time series things we can do. Moving over to a couple of other charts that I've just got pre-built here for us to run through these examples. This is going to be, the next three are about data formatting. So over on the right side, we've got the data format option now. We can hit the plus. There's only one attribute showing here, so it's just automatically choosing that for us. So we can select the type of attribute though, and now we can customize this as we want. So before I think we have, what did we have there? Yeah, 43.8. K as the representation of the number. Now we can
Mhm.
get the whole number if we want to by turning off that auto formatting.
Yeah, this was the thing I was just thinking about that. I had it in stats class in college. Someone mentioned, 1.88 looks really big,
Mhm.
and three doesn't.
Yeah.
Three is bigger, right? So
Right.
controlling your decimals really does matter.
Right. Yeah, totally. And actually you can see that even better in this chart, which has like a bit of a scary looking query, but really it's just a series of filters that are being selected here to build up this table really specifically.
Mhm.
But yeah, so here, like you're saying, like if this was 1.88 or something, and then below it was 3, that's harder to reason about.
Yeah, that like
Um,
disk util percentage is like, hey, they're all super low,
yeah,
but they all look kind of big and terrifying.
exactly. Yeah. And you probably don't care if it's 4.8 or 4. Like that's
Yeah.
probably not so important. So
Your boss is going to be back. It's like, how much disk are we using? 4.8? Is it 4.8 or 4.2, Steve?
exactly. So yeah, so you can do that same thing we were doing in the last view, but now for each individual item here. So I've selected the disk util percentage, and I'm going to change this to a number. And this is giving me now just a whole number, but I can say, okay, I do care about the last two. I don't know, maybe I don't, right? So just customizing however you want here. And then we can actually do this for each one separately. So I think that's
Oh,
the
nice.
super cool thing here. Yeah, you're not choosing for everything. So maybe I do care for some
Yeah,
reason.
if it's response time, right, in
Yeah,
seconds, right, then 3.2 and 3.9 really are very different.
exactly. So
Yeah.
there I can start to really get granular in my adjustments.
So when you demoed this, I was like, oh, this is so cool because now people can like tweak their custom dashboards and have them looking, kind of right?
Mm-hmm.
And sure, some requests that people want to do these custom colors or like, sometimes people are like, well, I want, every region, like the bar on every line chart to be scaled to the size of customer that it is or something. I'm
Mm.
like, well, we're probably never going to implement that customization, but I mean, it's really neat that we can do this. But then we got into part two, and
Exactly. Yeah, we may never implement the exact feature set that you want for these, but now you can extend and do whatever you want in the charts. And you can use NURCL data or you can use external data sources. You could just put a
you know,
nice friendly GIF there.
I will just mention as we're getting into this, if you're sort of considering using New Relic, I do just want to kind of put out there like this next part is not for you, and I mean that kindly. I mean New Relic does tons of stuff for you automatically out of the box. If I had somebody on the last stream who was asking about, well, right now I just dump my logs over into the service, then I come to my logs and I have a problem, and so I showed him like code level instrumentation, and he's like, oh yeah, this could save me a lot of time, right? And you know if you're just starting out, go use that stuff. It is so cool. Go use the alerting stuff we just saw and incident and anomaly detection. Really, really neat. This is for people who have been sending data to New Relic and then have said, hey, these, canned stuff is great, but I need to do like I want to put a big dashboard up in the hallway that shows people this stuff. And everyone keeps asking, what's 201-3? And you're like, oh, that's just this one test thing, and I want to edit it out. And we're going to show you here's how you can make something truly custom that will take you to that next level. And so, if you're new and you want to like try out your dev skills, this is great. But just don't feel like you have to do this to use New Relic. Okay, this is not like you don't have to like deploy stuff locally and create local images to do that. So just that note before we roll on to what is for anybody who uses New Relic is like super cool features.
Yeah, that's a good call out. It's definitely like more of the power feature, or I'm just really excited about building visualizations, or also like another use case is I want to correlate my GitHub releases with
Yeah,
certain events in NURCL. So I'm going to
yeah.
pull those two different data sources together.
Well, and something I really believe as you get prepped for this is, it's actually something I mentioned, not to be self-promoting, but in all of my talks, I mentioned that the speed that you can read a dashboard is observability. People think
Mm-hmm.
of observability as being like, how many lines of logs do you measure and how much information you get, and that is part of it. But if you're in there and you're seeing, of distractor data and long tails and stuff and outliers show up all over the place, and you're squinting at the chart to even see like what is going on right now, that's a much less observable system than otherwise. Ali, we have a little bit of a scaling issue. We're losing the top of the
Oh,
screen share.
give me
Um,
2 seconds.
Yeah, I'll just add on there, as we just talked about a bunch of alert features that we have. Like if you're trying to comb through logs in the middle of an incident at
Yeah.
3 a.m. or something, that's probably not what you really want to be doing. You probably want to be seeing some visual representation.
Yeah, and that really, that kind of is the secret. And Ellie, if we don't, oh, we got it, we're good.
Cool. And how's the font in here? Because I know
maybe we could zoom in and enhance.
Yeah, how's that looking?
Give me a
Keep
print
going.
of that computer. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
I think that'll do. Because I don't, we want to show that you can do this in the command line. If you want to know the exact commands, they are on developer.newrelic.com.
That's right.
Which again, you shouldn't go to if you're just getting started with New Relic, but you should if you want to be a power user and do some advanced stuff.
Exactly. And actually, I'll kind of step back here a moment. So let me go back to like the home view of New Relic when you first come in. So if you click on this like apps button up here, it's going to open up this overlay for you. And now, starting today, you'll have this custom visualizations app available to you that you can click through. And when you have no visualizations, you'll get some helpful links here to get started. So that dev site that you're talking about is linked from right there. So this gives you like all the information you need to get started with the New Relic 1 CLI and get building what we call nerd packs, which house visualizations essentially. So kind of skipping forward a little bit because I obviously have that set up for us, so we don't have to go through the whole process together.
Style. We've always got the chopped onions right here in a bowl.
Exactly.
That's the right way to do it.
I'll just run nr1 create. And so this is, now I'm just anywhere in my file system running nr1 create. And this visualization is the new thing here. So it says create a visualization artifact inside your nerd pack. So that also gives us a hint that we actually need to create a nerd pack first. So we'll open that up and it's going to give me like a fun name, Wrathful Dinner in this case, but I'll go ahead and call it Vizzes. Keep it short. And I can head into Vizzes. Pretty sure that's a word, just like that. Oh, sorry, I have like this compulsive habit of clearing my screen, but sometimes that's not useful in a demo. Yeah. So I'll run nr1 create again, and now choose my visualization as an option.
I just don't want people to know how many times I've hit history to remember the same 4 commands over and over again. Right. Or that I have to start my audio software with sudo to make it actually work right.
Oh, no.
That's actually a real thing. If you use the very good open source tool Audacity, now OS 10 is like, well, you don't have permission to do audio recording. And Audacity is not set up the hooks to do that. So you have to just run it as sudo to be able to record anything.
Yeah.
It works fine.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so I just ran nr1 create with the visualization option. I gave it a name of facet chart, but you can get more creative with that. You can see it installs recharts for us. I'm going to open up the code now so we can see what actually happened. So the first thing, and actually let me probably bump this a little bit. Maybe is that okay?
I think we got it, yeah.
Cool. So the first thing that we ran with the nerd pack crate, put in the launchers and the nerdlets folders. We're not actually going to look at those today, but the visualizations is where we want to take a look. So this has got the facet chart visualization folder in here, and we've got 3 important files, 2 critical files, index and nr1 JSON. The index is just the root of our visualization component. And wrap, oops, oh no, I shouldn't have touched anything, right?
So this is such a strong thing. This is our ability to work locally with code and see it running right away on the New Relic platform, with our New Relic data, so that we're not like submitting up a config and waiting for it to run, on a server, an hour and a half later. We're actually able to just fiddle with it locally. I think that's such a powerful like dev loop. That's really, really nice.
Yeah, super fun too. At least I think so. So in here, the default template gives you actually like a pretty functioning visualization template. So we're pulling in some components from recharts, which is just a React wrapper around D3. And then you could use D3 directly if you are a super power charter. I'm probably not that good. Then we've got our regular prop type definition stuff, a transform function here, and I just want to kind of jump into the render, and we'll come back up to that transform later. But yeah, so here we're looking at our props and saying, okay, if I've got the information I need, I can render. If not, I'm going to render an empty state. And that's something nice if you do end up building one of these. Keep in mind the empty state for your users of these, because you might be able to give them a nice helpful message about what kind of data you're going to show them or what kind of query they should add in here. But then once we've got our data, we're just using some NR1 components, AutoSizer and NURCL query, fetching our data, running that transform, and then loading up the radar chart. Key thing here with the props is they're defined in the NR1 JSON. So a couple of things are happening here. We're defining the type of this NerdPack artifact, in this case, visualization. We're giving it some identifiers, and then we've got a configuration blob. And this configuration blob is for the props. So
yeah, this is so cool to me that not only can we, in code customize how we're displaying this stuff, but we can implement the same kind of little customization toggles for the rest of our org or whoever, sees our visualization app later. We can implement those toggles so they can say, hey, I want to be able to turn this piece off and on. So we didn't show it for our can charts that, that there's this issue with other, right? That like, if you say this region, these are the top 5 regions, and do you want to display other or not? But I as I recall, that's what we're going to see next, right? Is like turning off and on that big other miscellaneous category.
Exactly, yeah. And we'll just go, so we'll take a look, I guess now is a good time, back at one of these charts that I've got here, which is just a simple chart, count star, page view, facet, city with a limit of 5. So that other is like everything outside of that 5 limit. How do we see what the quantity of that is? So New Relic has added an others group toggle for you. And what we'll do now is implement this in our custom visualization template to show you how that works.
Yeah, this is especially like prescient if, for something like geo, where, we have geographic region on there, and that's great, but maybe some of our data is coming in without a region set, right? So, you may be in kind of a fool's paradise where you think, oh, this is, we're seeing all of our stuff is from Barcelona. I don't want to have Barcelona on the mind. I think I want tapas. I think that's why I have it on my mind. But, you maybe think, oh, like 90% of our traffic comes from Barcelona, but the reality is that when traffic doesn't come from Barcelona, it is not getting tagged. And so looking, sometimes other is not useful and you want to hide it, but other times it's super important to have it enabled.
Exactly. And so giving everyone the ability to make that choice depending on the query they're running and what they're using it for is super nice. So yeah, I guess let's jump back into the code here. So the thing that we're going to need to do is we want to add a new prop of something like other visible. So we have to do 2 things to get that. We need to add an entry in our configuration array here. And I'm going to add just a basic field, call it other visible, and then give it a title for our UI, which we'll see what that looks like in a moment, and just say something like show other group. The type is not going to be a string here. It's going to be a Boolean. I was like, bool or Boolean, you never know. But it's this. All the data formats are
that in plurals get me every time.
Right. Hopefully I got it right, actually. But the dev site describes all the data formats you need to know about, so you can always reference that.
I my guess, because we say string and not str, I'm gonna guess we got it right.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
That's just living on faith sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so, I'm a little, I'll say I'm a little annoyed that hardly anything is broken today. So, we got to show some stuff breaking. I don't want to make anybody at home feel like, the code works the first time, because that is untrue. That's a lie.
Yeah, I've obviously done this before. This isn't my very first visualization. But I mean, it is like that template does give you a really awesome starting point. And so let's just run this before we implement that other so we can see the difference in the UI. So we're loading this locally now with nerdpacks equals local query string. I've got that open for myself here with, nerdpacks equals local. So if I just give this a refresh, just a reminder, like the way you get here is through that apps and custom visualizations. Cool. Now I've got my visualization running locally, tagged as such, so that I can see which one, if I had like a bunch in here, for example, I could see which one is local. And this right-hand sidebar is what that NR1 JSON is mapping to. So we've got now other visible down there at the bottom, and we've got our NURCL queries and the fill and stroke. So those are all the NR1 JSON values that we've defined that we want. Yeah.
and then you can just toss in a query here and set
Oops.
the account it's
Oh,
running against.
no.
Yes, good
Yeah.
work. You have to
Code,
break stuff
live
to
code,
feel
live
something.
code, live code.
Oh, it looks like an access issue. Where am I?
What account, maybe?
Yeah, I think I should be logged
Could be in
into.
this one.
Yeah.
You know, this is something as we work on this. This is something. Again, everyone needs to know my personal story because that's always fascinating.
Uh-huh.
I worked in tech support for New Relic, left to become a developer, and then came back. And in that time, the tools that the support team uses to like go check out your account in a data safe way and like see what settings might be misconfigured and look at like how data is coming in. Um, they do all kinds of neat stuff, and I have forgotten all of it. And the tools are still there, and they still work, and everyone else understands how they work, and I never do. And people are like, "Oh yeah, they want you to go look at this account. It's this account ID, and go check it out." It's like, yeah, I can't. I can't. It didn't work for me. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Hey, we got data.
The sweat part is over, and luckily just a free fresh gave me my access back somehow. So
I'll get some like juggling bean bags here on the desk for the next time that happens to be like, yep, this is juggling time.
Yeah. Cool. So here we've got that example query that was coming from the empty state, just a usage data. This is something that everybody should have, so you'll be able to see something when you first load this. But let me click the other visible. All right, other's already there. It's not changing anything because we haven't hooked it up. And also let's put a better query in here. Yeah, let's do, or not better, I should say maybe just what I want to correlate to what we've already seen. So we've got those 5 cities in the other category by default, but going back to the code, all I need to do is grab other visible from props, because we've defined it in our enter1 JSON. So now we have access to it. And then instead of returning this, I'm gonna just set it equal to data and transformed data will be if it's other visible, right? We just return the data like we just saw there. That's the default state. Otherwise, we're gonna filter it. And we've built an array of objects with name and value. So I know a name is gonna be what I'm looking for. So name is not equal to, and that's kind of like annoying that that usually really awesome, helpful thing in VS Code for right now. But there we go. We'll return transformed data. Oops. Sweet. And I've definitely, this dot, that's the problem. Cool. All right, let's load this again. Yeah, so now we don't have other on there. But clicking that brings it in. And that's all just like live hot reloading, which is super fun. We can change the fill color. So this is where you were mentioning like some people want like their own colors, right? You can do that now. If you make your own visualizations, you can put whatever colors you want. The other nice thing is the response data actually has colors associated that are the New Relic colors. So if you want everything to kind of match up with New Relic, you can use the colors from the response data as well.
Yeah, so you have kind of 3 possible levels here, right? You can use the default as it comes in. You can create this config, right, where you just say, hey, I'm going to set this fill color. Or, right, you can go and write some code that says, hey, set this fill color based on the data that we're seeing, right? Sort of the way that we color things like response rate otherwise, right? Or like, hey, over this time is red, or over this volume is this much. Oh, I love it. Really, really neat stuff. It's so neat to see it go end to end too, right? To be able to see a little toggle get implemented completely. Jules, this is so cool. So there's a really nice, again, it's at developer.newrelic.com, which I'm just going to write to the chat because, you shouldn't just say things, you should write them. As a visually impaired person, like I appreciate this. Developer.newrelic.com, right? That's right. Right.
Developer.newrelic.com. Yep.
All right. There's a great Hello World app there to like make your first of these apps and see it in action. But do you have other ways you recommend people get started, or other places people can find an initial guide?
I think that developer site is a pretty good walkthrough, and it walks you through updating the props and adding a new prop there. It's not, in this case, it's not other visible in the guide, but it's like the fill opacity of this. But then any React charting library, they like this one in this case is Recharts, which is a super popular one. They always have like really great examples, and obviously we've sat here long enough that something went wrong, but I would recommend looking at those examples and just like copying and pasting them in if you want to just get started with a cool visualization and you're not really sure how it works.
Someone from the chat asked, is the code example on the dev site?
Great question. I wanted to publish this before, but I didn't get a chance to do that. I'm happy to put this up as a full repo. And I don't know if we can like link it later.
Yeah, oh totally. In all the future versions, we will have it linked if you want to send me the repo link next week. Yeah.
Cool. That being said, though, I mean, I really just changed that one thing. So it's you just get the enter1 CLI and run enter1 create nerdpack, enter1 create visualization, and you'll have essentially the same code that we've got here.
Well, this was awesome. Jules, you were so patient. You coming on last, like the funniest comedian on any late night show, always waiting for the last slot to really knock them dead. Do you have other stuff you want to plug or other stuff you want to mention to people?
I don't really have any like dev personalities out there in the social media.
Yeah,
if you want to check out my
famous.
music, I would love for you to check out my
God,
music
yes.
at Jules Sounds, which is Instagram, just and I think YouTube is the same name. So yeah, if you want to check out my music, that'd be cool, but it's nothing major.
I'm just writing it in the chat because I'll do it.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much. Now, here's what happens to me is that right when I get to the end of the stream, I'm just always like, okay, bye. And then I close it. I forget to plug anything or tell anything about anyone. But, okay, Allie, you will stop me when I miss one. Or you will.
Do you want me to do it?
If I miss one.
Do you want me to do it?
No, because I got it. Because I am slowly becoming a professional in my 4th year of dev advocacy.
You got it.
The Nerd Lock comes back next week. Follow New Relic on Twitch to get notifications when we're doing other cool New Relic stuff all the way from beginner tutorials to really advanced open source commits happening live on stream. Also Nerd Days. Nope. Future Stack is coming up at a time in a place. When I was a little child, I never learned the order of months. I didn't learn and I still can't really do it.
Same.
I said to someone the other day, I said, I have the end of the year just fine. September, November, December, January, that's not a problem at all. And they said to me, you forgot October. And that's a true story that really did happen to me. But Future Stack is happening in
April.
So look out for that. We're doing some really cool events with the Relicans. It's also just a great conference. The CFP, I think, is now closed. But hit me up on Twitter. DM me on Twitter at serverlessmom if you want to talk at Future Stack. Otherwise, okay, now what did I miss out?
Also, as you said, make sure that you're coming back here, and every day someone will be live on this channel, whether it's the Nerd Log or not, but be sure to follow both of us on Twitter. This is Serverless Mom. I'm at Ending with Allie. I also stream every weekday, and I'm going to be streaming later tonight if you want to watch me bake cookies, which is not tech at all. But
extremely good.
Besides Future Stack, let me just go through my mind. Oh, if you have any interesting articles that you'd love to post, we actually, if you go to therelicans.com, we have this forum that we have. So always be sure to come in and hang out and see what other people are writing about. We have a hackathon. Make sure you check it out. Ending soon.
Like a week. Yep. Last week.
It's the last week. Earn money, save the planet. It's called Hack the Planet. It's hosted by Dev2, so please be sure to go check it out. Besides that, I'm gonna set up a raid. We're gonna go raid Pachi. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna start the raid here. So we'll see you all next week. With more hosts, more interesting tutorials, more interesting demos. So get really excited for that. The turnout was amazing. And if you have any questions, be sure to reach out to either of us or all of us. DM her music Twitter. Give her the engagement. She needs it. Her music Instagram. She needs it. So we'll see you soon.